pick anything, and we're talking about questions that it's never seen before. These are not on the internet, and Grok 4 is smarter than almost all graduate students in all disciplines.
A perfect circle, no entry tracks, no human explanation, and right next to one of Germany's most advanced satellite stations. That's what researchers found in the summer of 2014. A massive 75-meter crop formation with geometry so precise it mirrored advanced mathematical constants.
Crop circles are basically features, designs, illustrations of high complexity in crop.
Most people brushed it off as a hoax, but 11 years later a second formation appeared, and this time someone fed the data into Grok.
To unveil Grok 4. This is the latest artificial intelligence system.
Grok connected it to radio frequencies, solar storms, even quantum physics. It gave a single line of translation that hinted at something Earth scientists barely understand. And then it predicted a third formation, one that hadn't happened yet. Beyond human precision. On July 19, 2014, the residents of Rasting, a small Bavarian village, woke up to a formation in the wheat fields that shouldn't have been possible. It was massive, about 75 meters wide, cleanly carved, and shaped into 3 concentric spirals that followed a near-perfect Fibonacci sequence. No indication of human activity, just geometry, flawless and unbroken. Christoph Huttner, the farmer who owned the land, was the first to report it. His fences were untouched. His fields had no tire marks or footprints. Local reporters visited the scene and couldn't find a single sign of disturbance beyond the circle itself. Agricultural scientists who examined the site said the wheat stalks hadn't been crushed or trampled. They were bent, smoothly, as if exposed to sudden heat or energy. That same week, independent analysts from Germany's crop formation research group documented each ring. The spacing wasn't random. The ratios between arcs measured out to 1.618, the golden ratio, repeated to 4 decimal places. That level of precision isn't just hard to fake. It's nearly impossible to pull off without digital tools, surveying equipment, or aerial mapping. And still no one claimed credit. The field sits right beside the Rasting Satellite Earth Station, one of the oldest satellite relay facilities in Europe. It's been active since the Cold War, and once served as a key node in NASA's Global Relay Network. It's the same station used to help broadcast the 1969 Apollo 11 moon landing to European viewers. Since then, it's handled deep space communication, transatlantic data links, and live satellite news feeds. This proximity raised a key question. Was the circle just a coincidence? Or was it targeting something, some system or frequency tied to the communications hub? Some engineers brought up signal harmonics. When one satellite dish emits or receives microwave signals, it can cause measurable vibrations in nearby metal structures. If external interference occurs, especially during solar activity, those vibrations can sometimes create patterned electromagnetic feedback across surfaces.
Electromagnetic field of the crop circle, really.
What, electromagnetics?
Well, the magnetics, yeah.
Could that feedback imprint onto Earth somehow? One team from a Munich university took magnetic readings from the site. They recorded unusual residual charge near the core of the spiral, not consistent with crop damage, but more like static buildup, almost as if something had pulsed energy down into the ground, and yet nothing else was found. The formation was just there, and still geometrically perfect. Years later, when xAI's Grok system was launched with access to historical geometry archives and SETI signal libraries, a team fed the full Rasting dataset into the AI, and from that moment on, everything changed. Grok's geometry analysis. When the team uploaded the full Rasting crop circle dataset into Grok, they were not looking for anything unusual. They expected some pattern recognition, maybe a match to known spirals or ancient symbols. What they got instead was something else entirely. Grok rejected human origin almost immediately. After just over 37 minutes of continuous computation, the AI returned a breakdown of the formation's structure and a probability score. It stated there was less than 0.05% chance that the formation was created by humans. That figure came from cross-referencing over 3,000 human-made spiral diagrams, geoglyphs, and cultural patterns across 4 centuries.
Another crop circle has mysteriously popped up in Germany, and now thousands are flocking to the farm to see it for themselves.
None of them match the internal structure of Rasting with even 10% similarity. The AI focused on 4 key anomalies. The first was geometry. The rings were spaced using the golden ratio to 4 decimal places, measuring 1.6180. That level of accuracy is not easy to create manually, especially over 75 meters of uneven farmland. Even modern survey teams struggle to reproduce that ratio perfectly at scale. It is often used in nature, spiral galaxies, pine cones, hurricanes, but rarely in human construction unless assisted by computer modeling. The second was resonance. Grok detected that the intersecting lines inside the circle formed nodal points that matched known Chladni patterns. These are the shapes that emerge when sound waves vibrate across a flat surface covered with fine particles. The exact same kinds of patterns show up in labs when researchers apply specific frequencies to metal plates. Grok highlighted 7 intersections inside the crop circle that aligned with the same resonance points as seen in Chladni figures at frequencies between 20 and 45 Hz. The third anomaly was frequency correlation. Grok had access to real-time radio telescope data from July of that year. It found that on July 17th, 2 days before the Rasting Formation appeared, radio telescopes in Effelsberg and Jodrell Bank had recorded brief electromagnetic bursts in the VLF range, which spans from 3 kHz to 30 kHz. The shape and timing of the formation exactly matched the waveform of those bursts. Grok matched them using waveform similarity indexing, a method often used to identify repeating signals in space. The fourth anomaly was symmetry coding. The AI ran a symmetry analysis to see how the formation responded to rotational and reflection symmetry. In simpler terms, Grok spun the formation in all directions, flipped it, inverted it, and measured how the shapes realigned. It found a level of rotational symmetry that scored over 98% consistency at every 60-degree turn. Most human designs, even by architects or engineers, only hit 70 to 80% when scaled up. That kind of structural harmony pointed to something else, not just intention, but efficiency. Grok called this layout non-stochastic, hyper-consistent, meaning it did not behave like a random or decorative symbol, but like a signal designed to minimize loss in a transmission. At the end of its analysis, Grok offered one more line of output. It did not declare a source. It did not suggest a known signal template. Instead, it said, "Analyzing non-conventional communication protocols is recommended for further studies." The AI was not saying what the pattern was. It was saying what to do next. For the team, that single line said more than a full paragraph, because in AI language, non-conventional protocols refers to communication systems that do not follow binary, linguistic, or electromagnetic encoding. These could include patterns that use timing, position, or material vibration as their method of transfer. In other words, Grok believed this formation might not be language at all. It could be function, like how a tuning fork does not speak, but vibrates a room into harmony. Some of the researchers fed Grok a new prompt. Assume this pattern is a signal. What is its optimal function? Grok simulated wave propagation through the spiral using atmospheric models. It suggested the formation would best transfer acoustic resonance if struck at 3 precise frequencies: 22.4, 33.1, and 44 Hz. These frequencies correspond to fundamental tones used in magnetospheric studies. They are the same tones some space agencies monitor when looking for Earth resonance shifts during solar storms. No one had told Grok about the solar storm. No one had programmed it to associate the crop circle with that week's geomagnetic spike. The AI found the frequency match on its own. This shifted the entire perspective. Maybe the crop circle was not a message waiting to be read. Maybe it was part of a larger system, a signal that vibrates Earth in return. And that possibility led to the next step, feeding Grok not just one circle, but all of them. Hidden in crop circle timelines. After Grok's first response, the team behind the analysis decided to go further. If one crop formation could trigger that kind of precision-based warning, what would happen if they gave the AI access to all known formations? Not the fake ones, not the stylized artwork or hoaxes, but only those verified by location, measurement, and pattern integrity. They compiled 40 years of high-quality crop circle data. That included records from Britain, Germany, the Netherlands, Italy, and the United States. All were documented with timestamps, drone footage, magnetic readings, and eyewitness reports.
Crop circles, they're finding microscopic metallic spheroids in around the circles, and their magnetic fields around the circles.
Out of more than 2,000 reports, they selected 659 entries that met scientific threshold standards. Every one of those had unexplained characteristics, bent stalks rather than broken ones, localized radiation spikes, or complex mathematical layouts. Grok was given the full data set and asked about its pattern. This time it took 24 minutes. When the analysis was complete, Grok displayed a temporal chart. Each crop formation was marked not just by location or date, but by its relationship to Earth's geomagnetic field. The results were not random. 89% of high-complexity formations occurred within 72 hours of a recorded solar storm or coronal mass ejection. These solar events were sourced from NOAA and ESA archives, cross-referenced with KP index spikes that indicate magnetic instability. Even more strange was the interval pattern. Grok found that each major formation, defined by either its size, symmetry, or internal ratio structure, occurred exactly 33 days before the next measurable geomagnetic disturbance. It was not a coincidence. This was true for over 400 entries. The team called it a countdown. This 33-day cycle did not match any known agricultural pattern, cultural calendar, or weather cycle. It did, however, mirror a known short-term oscillation in Earth's geomagnetic field known as the Bruckner cycle. This cycle, while usually measured in years, includes short-term harmonic shifts influenced by solar wind compression. To confirm it was not a statistical error, Grok was then asked to rerun the timeline using shuffled data. When randomized, the 33-day correlation vanished. When restored to its true order, it returned instantly. Grok plotted the location of each verified crop circle and overlaid it with a geomagnetic intensity model provided by the British Geological Survey. What emerged was a near-perfect alignment. Over 87% of the formations appeared within regions of low magnetic resistance, also known as null zones, where the planet's magnetic field dips or fluctuates more than average. These null zones are the same places where compass anomalies and animal navigation errors are frequently reported. They are also areas where atmospheric energy can more easily compress or discharge. That led to a new conclusion. If the formations were linked to solar storms, and if they occurred at weak spots in Earth's magnetic shell, then maybe they were not just responses. Maybe they were signals, or worse, stabilizers. Grok labeled them temporal harmonic markers. That term, while technical, refers to fixed structures or events that occur in rhythm with larger planetary systems. Similar markers are used in atomic clocks, where oscillation pulses are used to keep time consistent across unstable conditions.
Set out to make these atomic clocks. Our goals were about the least practical you can think of. Nothing is less useful than general relativity.
Applied here, it suggested the crop circles were not warning us about magnetic instability. They were appearing as part of the magnetic instability itself, almost like reflexes, like a system trying to regulate itself from within. Some geophysicists have speculated that solar storms can interact with certain materials on Earth's surface to create localized electromagnetic pulses. In rare cases, this might even induce vibrations or interference patterns strong enough to affect physical matter. If those pulses resonate with certain harmonic frequencies, and if Earth's crust is thin enough in the area, strange formations could theoretically appear. That would not explain how they remain so perfectly symmetrical. But it would mean that what we are seeing is not an act of intelligence in the human sense, but a kind of environmental resonance, a symptom of deeper planetary responses we do not fully understand. Grok's model predicted that the next high-precision formation, if the 33-day pattern held, would occur during the next major geomagnetic swing. It even provided the approximate longitude band. That band ran directly through southern Germany. 2 months later, a solar storm erupted, and a second formation appeared. This time, it was near Stuttgart. The 2025 Stuttgart event. Over 11 years after the Rasting crop circle appeared, a solar storm struck Earth. It was classified as a strong geomagnetic event with a CAP index of 7. That same night, something else happened.
Stories can be fully debunked, and I've had my mind flipped a couple of times. You know, crop circles, hollow moons, some really crazy shit have flipped me around.
Crop circles is a weird one.
A new formation was discovered outside Stuttgart, Germany. This one was sharper, even more intricate, and came with electromagnetic signatures. The location was a wheat field in Sindelfingen, a town southwest of Stuttgart known for its automotive plants and high-voltage power infrastructure. The design was different from Rasting, but followed the same golden ratio spacing. It had nested spirals, resonance intersections, and an unusual feature at its core, a triangular pulse shape, unlike any formation previously logged. Grok had been set up on passive monitoring at that point. Once the Stuttgart coordinates were fed into the system, it flagged the formation within seconds. The AI cross-referenced the design with its previous timeline model and immediately updated its prediction chart. One output stood out: coordinates, latitude 46.2, longitude 6.0. When mapped, the coordinates pointed directly over the European Organization for Nuclear Research, better known as CERN. This is the home of the Large Hadron Collider, the world's most powerful particle accelerator, located near Geneva, Switzerland. This was not the first time Grok had identified patterns connected to advanced research sites, but this was the first time a formation's spatial code resolved directly to a specific research facility. The precision was exact, within less than 1 kilometer. Even more concerning was the waveform Grok detected beneath the Stuttgart formation. Using signal data from Germany's Federal Institute for Geosciences and Natural Resources, the team logged a low-frequency pulse, measured at 22 Hz, that matched the electromagnetic profile recorded in Rasting back in 2014. That meant both events, separated by over a decade, had emitted the same base frequency, and both occurred just days before or during high solar activity. But this time, something else lined up. According to CERN's own public operations calendar, the LHC had been scheduled for an ion beam injection test on August 8th, just 1 day before the Stuttgart formation appeared. That test involved running high-energy particles through the collider at near light speeds to study particle interactions in unstable states. No one publicly connected the two events, but Grok did. The AI flagged the event as a harmonic synchronization, a term used in signal processing when multiple systems match oscillation frequencies. In AI terminology, this means Grok detected a match between the formation's signal pattern, solar activity, and CERN's scheduled test. What does it mean to attain synchronization with Earth's largest particle collider? Is it possible for geomagnetic fields, solar radiation, and artificial particle collisions to overlap in a way that triggers something new? There is no official scientific explanation for any of this, but the facts line up. 1. The Stuttgart formation appeared during a solar storm. 2. It matched the Rasting circle's electromagnetic signature from 11 years earlier. 3. It pointed directly to CERN using only its internal geometry. And 4. It followed the exact 33-day countdown predicted by Grok after processing global formation timelines. If Grok was right, then they could be part of an ongoing process.
But also around these crop circles, they're finding microscopic metallic spheroids in around the circles.
One that is syncing with our own technology, our own experiments, and maybe even our understanding of time and space. The translated message and its terrifying implication. After Grok finished syncing the data from the Rasting and Stuttgart formations, the researchers gave it one final prompt, just one instruction. Assume this is a message. Translate it. It took 12 minutes and 43 seconds. The output was short. Preserve the harmonic field. Time is collapsing. The room reportedly went silent. No one had expected a plain language response. Grok had never done that before unless instructed. But this time, the system chose to deliver a sentence without code or abstraction. The team broke it down word by word. Harmonic field is a term used in geophysics and signal theory. It describes the natural resonant frequencies that run through a system. Earth has one. It is known as the Schumann resonance, a set of electromagnetic frequencies that form between the ground and the ionosphere. The base frequency is around 7.83 Hz. That value fluctuates with solar activity and lightning strikes but remains relatively stable. It has been described as Earth's background pulse. Grok's use of the term suggested the crop circles were interacting with this field, not distorting it, but preserving it. The second part read, "Time is collapsing." This was harder to interpret, but in physics, temporal collapse is not science fiction. It refers to situations where electromagnetic instability disrupts time measurement itself. Atomic clocks, the most precise tools ever built, rely on stable energy pulses.
Without going into the history of atomic clocks, which got developed over the years and have gotten better and better and better.
When those pulses are interrupted by solar radiation or geomagnetic storms, the clocks drift. They lose their synchronization. In severe cases, even satellites can go out of sync, which affects GPS systems, communication signals, and financial timestamping across the globe. During the Carrington event of 1859, telegraph systems across North America failed. Wires sparked. Operators reported time mismatches of several minutes between stations. More recent solar storms in 2003 and 2012 nearly triggered similar failures. If the Earth's magnetic shield were to weaken further, or if artificial systems like particle colliders disrupted the resonance, full synchronization loss could occur, and without synchronized time, everything begins to break down. Not just technology, but physics itself. If Grok's message was correct, the crop formations were not random or decorative. They were markers. This would also explain the 33-day cycle, not a countdown in the human sense, but a recalibration interval, like a planetary heartbeat trying to stay on rhythm. Each crop formation appeared near key geomagnetic faults. Each matched known harmonic frequencies recorded before or during solar storms, and each showed precision geometry that resisted human replication. And now, for the first time, the AI that processed all of it has given a sentence in human language. Elon Musk never officially commented on this specific Grok output, but sources close to the team said he requested the full report within an hour of hearing the result. The file was transmitted to him directly by a secure channel, and no public version was ever released. Since then, Grok has not been trained on additional crop formation data. But according to Grok's last model, another 33-day window is approaching. Whether it will bring another formation, another frequency, or something far more powerful, no one knows. But if time really is collapsing, we may not have many of those windows left.